Now, first start with the story. Now, there was once a story about a hunter and a dove. And then the hunter caught the dove, yeah, and was about to kill the dove. The dove told the hunter something. He said, "Please, if you do not kill me, I will tell you four secrets on how to become wealthy." Then the hunter was like, he wants to know how to become wealthy. So he waited for the dove to tell him that. He now said, "Okay, first." He said the first thing the dove told him was that one is that keep what you have. Then he now told him the second thing was that two is that do not cry for what you do not have. And the third thing that he told the hunter was that if anybody tells you anything, do not be in a hurry to believe what the person says. Rather, verify what the person has said before you believe him. And then the fourth thing he told him that before he tells him the fourth thing, he should let him fly to the next branch, to the tree close by, that he has gold inside him, that if he allows him to go there, that he will let him have access to that gold inside his chest. And then the hunter released the bird. Now what now happened was very funny. Was that when he got to the branch, then the bird now asked the man, the hunter rather, what was the first thing I told you? He told him that number one is that you should what keep what you have. And then the man realized after what the bird had told him, began to cry. And he now told him, what was the second thing that I told you? And the hunter told the bird, the dove, that do not cry for what you do not have. And then the third thing, now say, what was the third thing that I told you? And the man said that if anybody tells you something, don't be in a hurry to believe. Rather, verify what the person has said before you believe it. If you remember, the bird told the man that he has a big treasure, big gold inside of his chest. Yeah. And the fourth thing, actually, if you go through the video, go through this podcast again, you get to know you get the moral of the story. So, like the title of this my particular podcast is my NYC experience. Now, back then, NYC was quite different from the way NYC is now. Then, what the process of NYC was that once you are finished, yeah, they are going to now post your names. Once you finish school, then they post your names. Then you go back to your school. You get for your call-up letter. Now, the call-up letter was a big sheet, it was like a big document. It's only when you get to the orientation camp that is when you begin to verify, you verify the other documents. So if, for instance, you invited yourself to the NYT camp and you were not invited, you get there, now they'll turn you back rather, because you did not prepare for such, an activity. So what now happened was that, I finished my own normally. I was in batch A then. I was in batch A, and luckily for me, I served as a CLO, Copper Liaison Officer, in course of my NYSC, an officer of the NYSC. Now, what played out actually was that I got my call-up letter. I got known that the thing had been posted. Yeah, so we went to school, to get the call-up letter. Got there to get the call-up letter, and then what now happened? I got my own document. So there was a half document. I never knew that the other document, the complete one, just like saying, like a checkbook or something like that. It's like a checkbook. You have a particular sec. The other one is in the orientation camp. So by the time you're doing your documentation in camp, that's when you discover that these documents are not the same thing. No. If you invited yourself, then too bad for you. You find out that you have, cheated yourself with the process. So what now happens? Fast forward, preparation for camp. Now they're giving us a day oriented. I think they gave us 3 days. It happened that I was posted to Niger State, so I needed to report in Niger State. I have never been to Niger State before. All I knew about Niger State was in state and capital and maybe on news. And I was so excited. Back then I was in Lagos, yes. Now the challenge now was that how was I going to do? So I already saved up some money, yeah. And then my parents then, were so excited to, NYC, child has almost finished school just for them to go and serve their country for 1 year, then have experience. So for me, I took it like a tour. Now what happened was that they dropped me at cross country. Currently, then was cross country. Then we at Ido in Lagos. Then so from there we entered the first. As they just bought new sets of buses. The buses were so tear. They were so lovely. There was still nylons on the seat. Yeah, tear rubber as they call it in Nigeria. Now we got there. Now the beauty about it was that now I needed to get to. They gave us 2 days, so we had to prepare. So by the time I collected my call-up letter, I needed to report 2 days after the day I collected it. That's the protocol for NYC. Now I got to the prepared my load, and then I left. Now on getting to the we got to cross country definitely. So what they did there was like quite different from what most transport companies have now. Is that you did breakfast in cross country. Then that was the protocol. I don't know how it is now. We entered the vehicle, the bus that took us to Niger State. Because what they did was that then when you're an NYC copper, they make preparation for you at different strategic locations. All the states, all the mass transit in the whole 36 states of the federation make allowances to make sure they drop NYC at the orientation camp. I don't know how the protocol is now, but that's how it was then. So they dropped the what they call it now, they drop the students at the various NYSC camps, because that was the kind of preference. Like, you're going to do national service, so ensure your luck starts as you become an NYSC copper. That's where your luck starts. You are somebody that people just want to identify with. By this time, remember, you only have your color letter. They have not given your official kit yet. You have not given your clothes as an NYSC copper. Rather, you are given your normal color letter. That's the only identification you have. Now, in the course of the trainings in NYSC, you will now get to know some more terminologies. Now we have boarded the vehicle, we are on our way, we have left. Now, how they did it, Abuja road was still very nice. So 3 cars, they go in a convoy. You understand? We have 3 cars, that was my first time going to the middle belt. Now, we always knew about middle belt, but we never knew the state. We knew the states that consisted of middle belt, but we never really knew what made up that middle belt, as it were. Now we got there. We started moving. We moved from Lagos. We entered, I think, Ogun. At some point, where as what I was just doing, is I was just snapping pictures and I was asking questions. Yeah, I was asking questions and it was fun. Now, the bus was so new and the AC was so cold that we started using wrapper. I know for those that are conversant in Nigeria, we had to use wrapper to cover ourselves. Now, my question then was that could we not have the what they call it, the bus driver to have off the AC? Normally Nigerian factor is that once you are paying something, you want to maximize what you have enjoyed. Now, what happened now? We're moving. We moved from, I think, um we got to, at some point we got to Kogi State. Now we got to a particular bridge known as Muritala Bridge. If you're going to Abuja now, there's a bridge called Muritala Bridge. That's the place where, Kogi State is the confluence state where the River Niger and Benue meet. So for me, it was a very wonderful experience. Like, wow, wow. Look at, okay, so this is the local Muritala Bridge now. This was not a function of what they were telling me. I was experiencing it real life. So Kogi now became like our new Ore. You understand? So we stayed at Kogi State. From Kogi State, we now moved. But by this time was already going, because leaving from Lagos, it was quite a distance then. And we're going to make a trip. I remember we're going to Niger State. Niger State shares boundaries with Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Now, what happened was that we're already trying to get used to NYC life. Then you now meet some elderly people there that have served before. They'll be telling their own experience of NYC. And me, I was just basically look and say, I beg, I'm going, I had this passion of national service. I wanted to have the experience of having my khaki, being known as a cop. And luckily for me, I was in batch A. So it was like I just finished school then, or like 3 months after got called to service. So I was so happy. I didn't even spend time at home. I left. Now what happened now? We're at Lokoja Bridge. We passed Muritala Bridge rather. We get to Abuja. But by this time it was like 7:30. By the time we passed Muritala Bridge, it was about 7:30. Following that kind of route. As at that time, you know, this was back then. So they were telling us not to follow because traveling in the night was not good. That time Nigeria was quite, stable then. There was not much problems as it is now, insecurity and all the rest. So now we got to Abuja, but they now advised us, the driver told us, let us sleep in Abuja. So we slept in Abuja that night, and then we were preparing. It was so exciting for me because, like, okay, we have gone to a certain state. Okay, we got to Abuja today, fine. Tomorrow we get to Niger State. So I never really knew the distance between Niger State and Abuja because it was very, very close to each other. They say just a stone throw. You understand? So what happened was that I was so excited. So I already like getting that NYC vibe, that kind of drill of, okay, we now slept, okay, we're preparing for NYC. So the beautiful thing, like I said, cross country took us to our orientation camp, like every other transport company as at that time. They take you to the orientation camp directly. So it was only myself and 3 other guys that were taken to the camp then. So for the first time in my life, I saw this. We left around 7 o'clock, guys. At that time, we're prepared. So other person dropped at Abuja, whereas we're the ones that were to continue our journey because the arrangement was that NYC, all the coppers will be taken from their various locations to the NYC orientation camp. And remember, we're given 2 days to report. The day you receive your call up letter and 2 days after. After that time, if you do not come, that means it's as though you were not really interested in being called to service. So we left early in the morning around 7 o'clock, 6:37, about twilight, early in the morning. That was my first time I came across Zuma Rock. Wow. Zuma Rock, once you cross into Suleja, immediately there's a particular checkpoint you cross from Abuja. Once you cross in, you just pass Zuma Rock. Zuma Rock is like, it might be like 15 minutes drive. That's how big it was. Like, it's a monosonic rock. It's one of the wonders of the world. Like, wow. So this is Zuma Rock that they talk about. Once you pass Zuma Rock, then you enter Suleja. As at that time, the orientation camp was in Pikoro local government in Niger State. I was like, wow, okay, so I'm in Pikoro local government in Niger State. So I was so excited, and it was one of my experiences in NYSC. So that was the first time. So I followed. I came through in two ways. The first way I came in through Abuja, which I came through Lokoja. But I had to, if you look at the map of Nigeria, there are two ways you can enter Niger State. You can either come through Abuja or you can come through Ilorin. So the first time I went through Abuja. Abuja, yes. I got to my orientation camp, met the people. Then the beautiful thing about NYC was that one is that when we got to camp, and then I got to camp, and you know what they did. One of the beautiful things I liked that they did then was that once we got to camp, they want you to register. That's when I now discovered that when you're doing your orientation, as I got to camp, I just want one of my very good friends. I was like, Cornelius, wow, we just hug. We were classmates back then in school. You know how it means you're going to a very strange place, and then you meet somebody that you know from a very long time. You're like, wow, you know. Oh, hi. So now you get to the place and I say, wow, wow, wow. So we got hugging. I'm like, at least thank God I don't, at least I'm not even the total stranger. I'm not a total stranger here. I got to meet the persons that I need. And also remember I told you there were some guys that we left together with from Lagos. We came down to from Abuja. We now came down to Nigeria. It's already we bonded already there. Now we're now taken into the camp. Then we started meeting each other. Now the beautiful thing about one of the NYC experiences I had was that once you do your registration, they give you a particular bag and give you boots. Now most times they do not give you exactly what you need. They want you to interact with each other. What did they do then? They gave me my own bag because I was a tall person. They gave me size 37 and I wear size 46. Now the challenge was that I needed to meet me. They wanted us to mingle with each other. The lady that it was not a lady that I finally exchanged with. The lady was having the size 37 and she had my own shoe, my boot size, which was 46. You understand? So even the clothes you have. So that first day you come into the orientation camp, like I remember I told you then, your call-up letter, once you are taking it down there, as you take the call-up letter there, you're only having half. It's when you're doing your documentation, you get see the other half. It's like a checkbook. That's how big it is. Like, wow, okay, wow, this is a nice thing. Oh. So sometimes persons don't know. You just go there, you can invite yourself to camp. That's why some persons that came to orientation camp uninvited, they did not come with the necessary documentation. I'm talking about how it was then. Oh. I think a lot of reforms have done. I've not really studied the process which is done now. I know that most of it is now digital. Then fast forward, we have to now exchange our amounts. Okay, the clothes are given to different people. You have your clothes, I have mine. Then you can slim fit them. There's one mommy market. Then every orientation camp has mommy market. What happens? Everybody now gets to integrate. Then we're now giving your rooms. We now meet our roommates. Then also we also have then you have your platoon. I was in platoon 3 then. Platoon 3 was my platoon then in NYSC. Then what happened after? I'm just trying to summarize things so that we can get a full idea of it. Now, I there was a particular time they were going to kitchen. Yes, haha. Every platoon had the time they would cook. And me, the day I was cooking, all my platoon people came to the kitchen. I was like, our guy did there, oh, make we go meet them. And for me, I went to cook. Oh, I mean, I wanted to have the total holistic experience. Yeah, there were foods like tuwo chikafa, tuwo masara, dami. There were different foods. In my NYC experience, I ate a lot of all of those foods because I wanted to also experience the culture of the place that I was going to, Niger State. Yeah. Um, After which okay, we had our platoon party and the rest. Then everybody was now assigned to where they were supposed to go to. Now, I think one of the painful things about NYS is that you would have come and met people for like a certain amount of time and you bond with them. Then all of them now goes, and then you are now left with not having that. Some of them you might not see them again. Some is maybe during your passing out parade that you get to see them. So that's how it happened. My NYC experience, I had a lot of fun though. So I'll give you part two when I left NYC, when I left the orientation camp. Yeah, that will be part two of this podcast. If I see that there's a lot of people that share this video, then I will likely make a part two. But if they don't really share, then I will not really make a part two about it. Let me say share so that it shows that you enjoy what I'm doing or what I'm saying. If you like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Till we meet next time. Cheers.